Let's talk about the moment you stopped caring. I'm not talking about the moment you stopped loving her. I'm talking about something far more specific. I'm talking about that precise split second during an argument. Maybe it was a Tuesday night. Maybe it was over something trivial like the dishes or a text message where you looked at the woman standing in front of you, screaming, crying, or twisting your words. And you felt nothing. No anger, no desire to defend yourself, no urge to fix it, just a cold, absolute silence. In that moment, you didn't lose the argument. You didn't surrender. You realized that the argument itself was a trap. You realized that engaging in the conflict was a bad investment. You realized that no matter what logic you applied, no matter how much evidence you presented, the outcome was already predetermined. You were never going to win because the game wasn't designed for you to win. It was designed for you to participate, to exhaust yourself, and to concede resources, emotional, financial, and mental. So you went quiet. You sat there, you nodded. Maybe you even apologized for things you didn't do, just to buy some peace. Society calls this checking out. Psychologists might call it stonewalling or emotional unavailability. Women call it giving up. But let's call it what it really is. It is a cost-benefit analysis. You are not broken. You are not afraid of commitment. You are simply a rational economic actor who has realized that the price of participation in the modern relationship market has exceeded the value of the product. Today, we are going to dissect exactly why millions of men like you are walking away. We are going to strip away the romantic myths and look at the raw data of intersexual dynamics. We are going to talk about the psychological warfare tactics used against you, the rigged legal system, and why indifference is not a weakness, it is your only remaining leverage. Welcome to the silent exit. Part 1, the tactics of attrition. Why did you stop arguing? Because you learned that in a relationship with a modern woman, you are not debating a partner. You are negotiating with a hostile entity that does not follow the rules of logic. You realize that the goal of the conversation was never resolution. The goal was submission. Let's look deeper at the arsenal used against you. First, there is the strategic topic switch. You present a fact. You say, you spent $500. We didn't have. That is a tangible, verifiable reality. In a business meeting, this would be the issue on the table. But in your living room, what happens immediately? The subject changes. She says, you're saying I spend too much money, so you don't want me to be happy. You sound just like your father. Do you see the maneuver? The issue is no longer the $500 debt. The issue is now your tone, your controlling nature, or a past grievance from 3 years ago. She has successfully shifted the battlefield from logic and finance, where you have the advantage, to emotion and character assassination, where she has the advantage. You stop arguing because you cannot hit a target that is constantly moving. But it gets worse. Let's talk about revisionist history, or what is commonly known as gaslighting. This is where your sanity is actively targeted. You remember exactly what was said. You remember the sequence of events. You have the text messages to prove it. But when you bring them up, she rewrites reality in real time. She says, I never said that. She says, you're remembering it wrong. She says, you're crazy. She speaks with such absolute conviction that for a split second, you doubt your own mind. You check your phone, you replay the memory, and then you realize to her, the objective truth does not matter. The only truth is her current emotional state. If she feels like a victim right now, then in her version of history, she was the victim. Even if she was the one holding the knife, fighting this is like fighting a ghost. You cannot pin down a reality that is fluid. So you stop trying. Then there is weaponized distress, the tears. This is the nuclear option. When logic fails and she is cornered by the truth, the waterworks begin. Understand this. In the modern world, female tears are not always a sign of sadness. They are a tactical defense mechanism designed to trigger your biological instinct to protect and to signal to any observers that you are the aggressor. It is a get out of jail free card for accountability. The moment she cries, the conversation about her bad behavior ends, and the conversation about your insensitivity begins. You learn that truth is offensive and accountability is interpreted as an attack. So you stop asking for it. And finally, the mind reader clause. If you loved me, you would know why I'm mad. This is the ultimate breach of contract. It demands that you possess telepathic abilities. It sets a trap where you are guaranteed to fail. If you guess wrong, you don't care. If you ask, you're stupid. This enforces a state of constant anxiety. It is a high maintenance asset with low yield. Part 2, the biological trap. But the manipulation isn't just verbal, it is biological. And this is the part that hurts the most because it betrays everything you were taught about being a good man. You were raised with a specific blueprint. You were told, be a provider, be a protector, be sensitive, listen to her, put her needs first. You were told that if you did these things, if you became the ultimate nice guy, you would be rewarded with loyalty, desire, and respect. So you did it. You worked the overtime. You bought the house. You listened to her problems for hours. You compromised on your hobbies. You suppressed your masculinity to make her comfortable. And what happened? She didn't respect you more. She respected you less. She grew distant. She grew resentful. She started picking fights over nothing. Why? Because you are fighting against hypergamy. Hypergamy is the biological instinct that drives women to seek the highest status male available. But it's not just about money. It's about competence and strength. When you bend the knee, when you constantly apologize, when you prioritize her emotions over your own mission, you are signaling weakness. You are signaling that she is the prize, and you are just the lucky contest winner. Evolutionarily speaking, a woman cannot love a man she can control. If she can manipulate you with a few tears, if she can make you abandon your logic with a bit of shaming, she instinctively feels unsafe. She feels that if she can break you, the world can break you. This creates the double-bind society tells you to be soft. Biology demands you to be hard. If you are too hard, you are toxic. If you are too soft, you are boring. You realize that the good guy contract was a lie. You fulfilled your end of the bargain, but the delivery never came. You realize that you cannot negotiate genuine desire. It cannot be bought with flowers. It cannot be earned with chores. And it certainly cannot be kept by submitting to her frame. Once you see this, once you see that your sacrifice is not only unappreciated, but actively repulsive to her biology, you stop making the sacrifice. Part 3, the rigged rules and the disposable male. If the tactics and biology weren't enough to make you walk away, the rules of engagement certainly are. You have realized that you are playing a game with two distinct rule books. Rule number 1, feelings are facts. In the male world, the world of engineering, construction, war, and business facts dictate reality. If the bridge load is 10 tons and you drive a 12-ton truck over it, the bridge collapses. It does not care how the truck feels. In the modern relationship, this hierarchy is inverted. Her emotions become the objective truth. If she feels unsafe, You are threatening. If she feels unloved, you are neglectful. You cannot use logic to dismantle a reality that is built entirely on transient emotional states. Trying to use reason against emotion is like trying to use a hammer to catch the wind. It's the wrong tool. And you are tired of swinging the hammer? Rule number 2, the accountability gap. Have you ever noticed Briffault's law in action? Robert Briffault was a surgeon and anthropologist who observed a simple truth in nature. The female, not the male, determines all the conditions of the animal family, where the female can derive no benefit from association with the male. No such association takes place. In modern terms, your past value means nothing. You could have supported her for 10 years. You could have paid for her degree. You could have raised her children. But the moment you stumble, the moment you lose your job, or the moment you stop being useful to her current emotional needs, the relationship is void. There is no loyalty based on past performance. It is purely, what have you done for me lately? Rule number 3, the anger asymmetry. This is perhaps the most dangerous double standard. A woman's rage is normalized. If she throws a plate, screams in your face, or hits you, society rationalizes it. They say, she's passionate. She's just venting. What did you do to provoke her? But you, as a man, you are a loaded weapon. If you raise your voice, you are abusive. If you slam a door, you are violent. If you stand your ground too firmly, you are intimidating. You are expected to be a stoic, emotional sponge, absorbing her chaos without ever leaking a drop of your own frustration. You realize that one slip-up, one moment of losing your cool, could cost you everything: your reputation, your freedom, your job. The risk premium is too high. Silence is the only safety mechanism you have left. Part 4, the economic reality. Let's strip away the emotion entirely. Let's look at this like a CEO looking at a failing division of a company. Marriage, or long-term cohabitation, is a legal contract. It is a merger of assets. And for the modern man, it is the worst contract you will ever sign. Look at the liability. You are signing a document that incentivizes the other party to break the contract. In the US, women initiate nearly 70% to 80% of divorces. Why? Because the system rewards them for it. Upon dissolution of the partnership, the assets are split, often regardless of who generated them. Alimony, child support, and the loss of the family home are standard operating procedures. You spend your 20 seconds and 30 seconds building a kingdom, only to realize the queen can exile you from it and keep the castle. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about the opportunity cost. This is the calculation that truly wakes men up. Think about the energy you spend managing her moods. Think about the hours spent arguing in circles. Think about the mental bandwidth occupied by trying to figure her out. Let's say that consumes 15 hours a week. That is 780 hours a year. In a decade, that is 800 hours. What could you build with 800 hours of focused, uninterrupted male energy? You could build a multi-million-dollar business. You could master a martial art. You could learn 3 languages. You could reshape your body into iron. Instead, you poured that energy into a black hole of validation seeking, and you have nothing to show for it but high blood pressure and a depleted bank account. And look at the ROI, the return on investment. Generations ago, there was a clear exchange. The man provided protection and resources. The woman provided peace, home management, and loyalty. Today, you provide protection and resources. What do you get back? You get a partner who is independent until the bill comes. You get a roommate who resents your existence. You get boss babe energy in the boardroom and princess demands in the bedroom. You are paying for a luxury subscription service but receiving a defective product. The modern man looks at this balance sheet. He sees the liabilities column overflowing with risk and the assets column nearly empty. Any rational investor would liquidate this position, and that is exactly what you are doing. Part 5, the strategic withdrawal and building the fortress. So, where does that leave you? You have two choices. Option A, you stay in the burning building, hoping the fire will put itself out. You keep arguing, you keep losing, and you keep hoping she changes. Spoiler alert, she won't. Or, option B, the strategic withdrawal. You step out of the matrix. You realize that walking away is not an act of weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength. But here is the hard truth that most men's channels won't tell you. Walking away is only the first step. If you walk away but you are still broke, out of shape, and mentally weak, you haven't won anything. You're just a loser in a different room. The MGTOW monk who sits in his basement playing video games is not free. He is just hiding. True freedom requires power. When you withdraw your attention from women, you create a vacuum. You must fill that vacuum with purpose. This is what we call monk mode. It is a period of aggressive self-reconstruction. You take that energy you used to waste on fighting, and you channel it into your arsenal, your financial arsenal. You build multiple streams of income. You get out of debt. You create FEFU money. Money is the only thing that guarantees you never have to tolerate disrespect to survive. Your physical arsenal, you lift heavy iron. You train combat sports. When you are dangerous physically, you become calm mentally. A harmless man is not good. A good man is a dangerous man who has his monsters under control. Your mental arsenal, you read, you study stoicism, you understand psychology, you learn to control your own dopamine so that no one can manipulate you with pleasure or pain. The system wants you weak. The media wants you compliant. The legal system wants you vulnerable. To win this game, you don't just need to check out. You need to level up. You need to build an arsenal so powerful that no one, no woman, no boss, no government can ever leverage you again. I have spent the last decade decoding exactly how to build that leverage. I have broken down the psychology, the finances, and the mindset required to become anti-fragile. I didn't just write a script, I built a protocol. Inside, insert your product name. We don't just complain about women. We build the kind of men that women can't manipulate. We teach you the financial defense systems to protect your assets. We teach you the psychological frame to dominate any negotiation. We give you the roadmap to total autonomy. This isn't for everyone. If you want to keep whining about your ex, do not click the link. Stay in the comments section. But if you are ready to stop being a victim and start being a king, click the link in the description right now. The price of freedom is high, but the cost of staying where you are is everything. Join the few who have actually escaped. I'll see you on the inside.